Hi guys, it's Megan from Skinny Fidelicious. I'm popping by today because I want to talk to you guys about reading food labels, why you need to be reading food labels, and why things that say healthy, gluten-free, all natural, non-GMO, even organic may sometimes not be the healthiest option. So I've had a lot of people recently email me questions about certain foods, sending me pictures of certain foods, and asking me, what do I think about different foods? And this is actually one of the things I teach people who I work with one-on-one. I'm a nutritionist and a health coach. So when I meet with clients one-on-one, I actually go through and sit down with them and go through a full health history to understand what type of medical history they have, what type of food allergies they have, what their goals are, and any medical conditions, medications, things that we need to watch out for, because those obviously have a huge play in terms of the type of foods that they're eating and the things that they need to watch out for. So when I meet with my one-on-one clients, we go over all those things and we design a plan so they understand what they should and shouldn't be eating. And I go over in a lot of detail with them food label reading. The other thing is I have an online program called Eat to Lose Weight. I have a ton of people going through that program right now, and it is going awesome. I'm getting so many awesome questions out of that program. And one of the modules in that program is all about reading food labels and why it's so important for weight loss. So recently I've been getting a lot of questions on Facebook, through email, from different readers from the blog, asking about specific foods because they know that I have Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease, and it's highly tied into a lot of the foods that you eat. I'm also gluten intolerant, so everything I make is gluten-free. All the recipes you see on my website are gluten-free. So I get a lot of questions from people about what's really healthy and what's really not healthy all the time. And so today I just wanted to come by and give, you one really good example that you can take away and start using right now. And this has to do with oatmeal. So a lot of people take oatmeal, they buy those instant packs at the store, and it's like a quick breakfast that they can get. And I love oatmeal for breakfast. I think it is a great option if you pair it with the right foods and not eat it alone. I think it is awesome for breakfast. It's high in fiber, which everybody needs more of these days, and it is just a form of healthy carbohydrate that is really good for the body. So the challenge though with oatmeal and these oatmeal packs is, and I actually did this at the store a few weeks ago. I was at the grocery store because I'm just crazy and I love looking at food at the grocery store. I think the people at Sprouts think I'm probably stalking them there because I'm always sitting in the food aisle staring at foods and reading ingredient lists and analyzing them. But in any case, I was looking at Sprouts, and then I went to Walmart and Target, and I was looking at all the different oatmeal, the instant oatmeal packs. And these are the instant packs you buy and you can just dump into your bowl and heat it up with some water or some milk and you've got oatmeal. And then when I was looking at them, there was like one thing in common with all of them. They all had sugar added to them. And it's like, why? Why does it need to have added sugar? Why can't the person add just a little bit of sugar or stevia to their liking? Like, why does it have to have so much sugar? And not only do they have sugar, some of them have salt, natural flavorings, which are horrible for you, natural food colorings, just all kinds of other weird things added to them that are just not necessary. I mean, oats are oats. Why do they have to have additional things? But a lot of the challenge is that a lot of food companies have branded a lot of products as healthy or all natural, and people are picking up and just thinking, oh, that must be good for me, and they're not reading the back of the label. And it's such an easy thing to do. If you look at the back of a label and you read a food ingredient, make sure, hi Sharon, make sure that you're really reading those ingredients. And the first thing to ask yourself is the main ingredient the very first ingredient? So if you're buying oatmeal, the first thing you should see on that ingredient list is oats, whole grain oats. Those should be your number one ingredient. It shouldn't be sugar, it shouldn't be salt, it shouldn't be anything other weird. The second thing to look for is how many ingredients are on the list. So, I mean, if you're reading something and it's got like 20 different ingredients in it, that is a huge red flag. That is a red flag that there is a ton of processed ingredients in it. Things are refined, things are not natural, they're chemically concocted, and they're not good for your body. So look at the label and really, first of all, look to make sure it's the main ingredient is the very first ingredient. Look to see how much added sugar it is, and then make sure that there are not too many ingredients. If there are tons of ingredients and you can't even pronounce them, that's a huge red flag to put the product back on the shelf and not to use them. So I've got some examples of some really good instant oatmeals that I was actually able to find. This one is Arrowhead Mills. And when I read the back of the label, it says instant oat flakes and organic quinoa flakes. That is it. These are 100 calories. They're instant oatmeal. I found these at Walmart and at Sprouts. Perfect. There's no added anything. You can just add whatever you want to it to your liking. And that is the perfect scenario for you. The other one I found that I really like at Trader Joe's, this is a gluten-free instant oatmeal. And let me tell you, finding gluten-free instant oatmeal is really hard. That has been one of my biggest challenges when I had to go gluten-free last year, is finding gluten-free oatmeal instantly. I had to buy, rolled oats or old-fashioned oats and make them the old-fashioned way on the stovetop, and it was really a big pain. So I'm really happy to see that there is some gluten-free options. The other one I showed is actually gluten-free as well. But this one from Trader Joe's, I love this one. Let me see if I can find the ingredients. Whole grain oats, perfect. Ground flax seeds, chia seeds, quinoa, and amaranth, however you say that. I can never figure out how to say that word. But this is completely unsweetened. It's totally unnatural. It's got all ingredients I know and recognize. I can pronounce them. I've seen them before. They're great. So, I mean, when you go to the store, ask yourself those questions. Are these things I know what they are? Does it say it's got some coloring added or it's got something natural added? Anytime you see that word natural, it's like, well, what exactly does that mean? Usually it's probably something that they have taken from like a fruit or a vegetable and maybe concocted into some chemical, and then they throw it in there for coloring or some kind of additive. But it's a sign to me that they've chemically done something to a food and added it to another food. So when you see things that say natural and healthy, really be cautious and really take a look at those labels and make sure you know what you're going to be putting in your body. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that, it really depends on the person and their goals as to what kind of things you need to watch out for. I get questions a lot from people, and this is so challenging as a nutrition practitioner. It's like you want to help people, but you know that you have to, as a health professional, have a responsibility to do it in the right way. And I think that's something a lot of my followers aren't maybe used to yet, or they don't really understand because they're so used to me sharing my everything on the blog. And so they come to me and they give me this question, but it's like I know nothing about their background, I know nothing about their health history, and I could be telling them something that could really put them at risk for other problems. So it's really hard for me to give you this is the right answer for you without knowing all of that information. So I just want to caution you and make sure you understand that, there's certain conditions and certain things that, that food you really have to be careful about. So an example would be somebody with heart disease. So if somebody had a bypass surgery like my mother, I would probably do a different recommendation for things for her versus, somebody who is just looking to get healthier and has no previous problems or history of health problems. So I would probably give her a different recommendation in terms of, what she should be watching out for, what she should be incorporating more of in her diet, and what foods, she really needs to be cognizant of, like avoiding canola oil and vegetable oil and high fat, those kinds of things. So, just be cautious. Really understand that from a nutritionist and a dietetic point of view, that there isn't a one size fits all when it comes to your health. That, you can certainly ask me a question and I'll give you an answer from my perspective or what I would do for me. But again, I have an autoimmune disease and I'm also gluten intolerant. So what I'm going to do for myself might be very different from what you need to do for you and your goals. So that's just my 2 cents. The other thing that I want to mention is that I think a lot of people get kind of tied up into the organic, gluten-free, non-GMO, whatever, and they assume that those things are healthy. So I can't tell you how many times I have been at a store where I've seen something that says it's organic, and truthfully, it has a bunch of suspect ingredients in it. And I will tell you that in order for a product to be organic, it doesn't have to be fully organic. I think it's like 70% of the ingredients have to be organic. Don't quote me on that. 70 or 80%, something like that. And so the point is not all the ingredients are organic, number one. Number two, just because something says on the label that it's organic does not mean that the ingredients within it are all natural, healthy, and whole foods. That is very misleading to consumers, I think. And, I think that a lot of times people think, oh, it's organic, it's automatically healthy, and I'm just going to eat all of it and perfect. But no, you still have to read the labels. You still have to know what's in that food and how it's going to react with your body, with your conditions, with your medical history, and whatever your goals are for your health. So the other thing is gluten. And this one kind of hits me personally is when I hear people say, I'm just going to give up gluten so that I can lose weight. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I would give anything to be able to have gluten in my diet. And I have a real disease. And there's people who have celiac disease, people like me who are gluten intolerant and people who have celiac disease. And we have a real reaction to this grain, gluten. So when somebody says to me they're going to give it up for weight loss, it just rings a bell to me that they have no idea what gluten really is. Gluten is really a protein that is found in grains, and it doesn't help you lose weight necessarily. It's not a weight loss tool. It's not a healthier product. So when you see foods at the store that say they're gluten-free, that's not a sign that something's healthy and that you should buy it and eat it and it's going to help you lose weight and make you feel great. No. Not how it works. But the thing is that I have seen tons of gluten-free products at the store that are processed foods, and they have so many horrible ingredients in them. Chips, crackers, cookies, they are just as unhealthy as all the processed foods that you see. So you have to read the labels. You have to be a food investigator for your health. You have to be reading those things and understanding what is in them and how are they helping you or maybe not helping you. I'm sorry, the sun is like totally in my eyes. It's about to go down. So, and the other thing is non-GMO. Non-GMO, I typically tell people, try to stay away from GMOs. If you don't know what GMOs are, they're genetically modified organisms, and they're found, it's usually corn or soy based, and they are somehow added to different products. So you want to avoid them because they have been genetically modified. That means somebody in a lab has genetically modified that food, and now you're putting it into your body, and what is it doing to you? Who knows? It's probably causing autoimmune diseases and development of other long-term diseases like cancer and diabetes and things that we're seeing that are popping up all over the place. So again, looking for non-GMO products is highly recommended. But again, it does not necessarily mean that the food is high quality or good. It just might mean that one or two of the ingredients are non-GMO. So you have to really look at the back of the label, understand, is it really non-GMO? What is this thing? What am I putting in my body? So again, I'm sorry, I'm going to move this because it's like so bright right there. So anyways, just making sure that you really understand that just because something is labeled as healthy or is labeled as all natural or labeled as gluten-free, that may not be the right thing for you to be putting in your body. And it may not be healthy. So really look at those labels. Really look at and make sure you understand how much sugar is in this, because sugar is hidden in everything. And they disguise it in so many different words that some people don't even know what it is anymore. So anything that ends in OSE anything that has syrup in the name or malt in the name or cane. Yeah, so if you, and I've seen a bunch of other weird ones pop up too that I don't even always recognize. So look for those things, and those are all red flags that there's been a bunch of things added to the, to the food that you may not need. And sometimes just going with something really plain like this food, this is like a really plain oatmeal that I shared with you. It's just instant oat flakes and organic quinoa flakes. That's all it is. Like, you could add some berries and some nut butter to this and jazz it up in a jiffy. Like, you don't need these fancy oatmeal packs that have brown sugar and all this other stuff added to them. I mean, it's causing a lot of problems for other people. And for people who specifically want to lose weight, it's really important to avoid a lot of those processed foods because they just clog up your system, and your system is already probably really clogged up. And by that I mean your liver specifically, because the liver is what is the powerhouse detoxer of the body. And I truly, truly believe that if you get those foods out of your body, you will so much easily be able to lose weight. I read this great book by one of my professors in school. Her name is Dee McCartney, and she wrote this book, The Science of Skinny. Read it. Everybody, please read this book. It talks about the food chemistry and how we have all been sort of debunked in the food industry in terms of eating all these processed foods and these things that appear to be healthy that really aren't. And some of the studies that she shares in this book are just really eye-opening and scary. So I'm sorry, the sun is like really in my eyes. So in any case, what I wanted to tell you guys is that I am going to turn this around again. So what I want to tell you guys is that, it's not much better. Maybe tomorrow I need to do this in an earlier time before the sun's going to go down in my face. So what I want to tell you guys though is if you want to learn more about this, make sure that you really understand what your goal is, what are some of the challenges that you're faced with, and if this is something that you really are committed to doing and improving for yourself, I would highly recommend that you work with me one-on-one. You could just do one session and we could talk about, how to read food labels, what are some of the things that you need to avoid for you specifically and your goals and your health conditions. Or you can opt to take my online course, which is Eat to Lose Weight. It's an 8-week course filled with modules about all the different foods, all the different things you need to do to lose weight. There is one entire module, a whole module filled with just how to read food labels and how to become a food investigator. And I give, I think, some PDF reference files in that online course that shows you, what are the common names of sugar, what are the things you need to look for on the ingredient label, and what are the things that really could be harmful to your weight loss. So if you're interested in either one of those programs, I am going to drop the link in this Facebook Live so that you have that and you can go check them out. If you have any questions about anything in this Facebook Live, feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can always drop me an email, megan@skinnyfadelicious.com. I would love to hear from you, and keep the questions and comments coming because I love jumping on Facebook Live here to answer them. Bye, guys.